All right, what we're doing, we're finally going to stage 3, I guess. Let's see, we stripped the car. Actually, we dismantled everything on the car, then we stripped the car to bare fiberglass. And now, we're at the point of doing all the body work to it. So I'm putting it on our stands here, so it'll raise it up and I won't be working down on the floor. And if you look real close on the front end, you're going to see that's where most of the damage is. Look at this. Come on over here and look at that. The whole front end looks like he ran into something and totaled it out, is what I'm thinking. When we stripped the car down, we found out that this was a silver car, and you can see some of the paint here still. It was not a red car originally. The thing about the Corvettes, all the way up I think to 64, 65, they didn't have color codes on them. Did you know that?
Nope.
So it could have been red, it could have been silver, we just don't know. The way that I found out that this car was actually silver is when I stripped it down, we found silver paint underneath the chrome on the vehicle. So when we found out that the car was silver, the owner decided he wanted to go back original. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, I still have to remove the windshield out of this, and then we'll have to get a new windshield for it. And I'm going to tell you right now, taking these windshields out is a big job. To rebuild the windshield is another big job. Now, I want everybody to look at this chrome. And you can see the chrome looks pretty good here, but when you get down here, look at this. You see them scratches right here? Okay, and then this chrome up here looks nice, but we are not going to take the top apart. The only thing we're going to do to the top is we will tape it off and refinish it. That's it. Now, the inside of the vehicle over here is going to be red. So it'll be red inside, and then it'll be silver and white. Now, where it's going to be white is right here. So we'll come down here to where this insert is. Goes all the way down, you can kind of see it. And then that'll be a white insert. But before we do anything else, and I want everybody to look right here, look at this. You can see the map here, the trail that this is led into. This was a major repair. This fender was cracked in half right here. And I can feel the damage underneath. We'll look at that later. And then the front end was wrecked, of course. And we'll go ahead and redo all that, get it back in shape. I'm going to need the chrome so I can make sure that we mold everything properly and get it all in condition. This is one of the issues we have over here, is this fender right here. And when you feel this fender, let me go get a level and I want to show you what's going on here.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Show you what's going on with this fender. all we need is a straight edge, but if I put this on here, look how that fender is right here. Do you see this? Do you see where this is sticking out? Look at that hump right there. So if we look at this side, it's got a hump too. Do you see that? So what we got to do is we got to accurately and precisely make sure that the humps are the same. Now, if maybe the body shop girl can take her hand, feel that right there.
There's a lump and a dip.
And then come over here, right here. And see, this one isn't as bad as that one.
No, it's got a very small hump.
Okay. So what that's caused from is when they got in the major collision repair on the front end, it buckled up this side right here. Okay, and you can feel that if you were up under here, you can feel all the fiberglass work. It buckled this up, and they didn't really fix it properly. So this is where we get into major repair on a fiberglass car, because it might have a slight hump right there, but not as big and bad as it is. I mean, this is ridiculous. So another problem that we have is I went ahead and gave the owner the stainless steel trim that goes to this vehicle. And to fix this type of a repair on this fiberglass car properly, we need that trim piece, this one trim piece right here, because that trim piece is actually molded to the way the car is. Does that make sense?
Right. And if you fix the car without the trim piece, it might not fit.
So when the chrome guy gets done with the trim, we're going to need that trim as soon as possible, because that trim comes like this and goes around here, and with this big hump right here and all this excess fiberglass, does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It's going to be a bitch. When Minnie, the body shop girl, was stripping it, she found out that this piece right here was loose from the car. So we're going to have to get some panel bond to glue this back in. And you can see how it pops in there, and then it comes over here. Did you see how it popped out? Look at that.
Yeah.
So we got to really be careful with these things. And then all these little clips. Can you see this clip right here? This is a special clip right here. But all these little clips were rotted and rusted. And you can see on this fender here that they're all broke and tattered. Now here's the situation on these fiberglass cars. Look at this. This is where all the panels are glued together. And what happens if you don't do body work here, because you got to come back and do the body work on top of these with some Bondo. And if you don't do that, then what'll happen, because this is all shrunk down, what'll happen is when you paint the car, you'll see lines everywhere that the car is glued together. See this one right here? This crack right here, you can see where this was cracked. Look at that. And here's a crack right here. Looks like we have body work back here. Look at this. Ain't the body shop girl.
Yeah.
So this car here, this shows a good sign. Let me tell you what this is where somebody was driving the car at one time and they spun out and the rear end bashed into something. That's what this looks like. Doesn't that kind of like the car slid like this, you know? Alright, so there you go. That's the overall story of what's going on right now with our 61 Corvette. So the owner actually wants to get all that chrome plated, but we need all those pieces just to make sure that everything fits together, so we can't even take the chrome to him right now. It's going to have to wait until all the body work's done and then primer. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all got to fit on here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We finally got a brake and everything else that we can go ahead and start the body work. Now we're going to not just start the body work, we're going to do all the body work to this car, start to finish. Now it's going to take about a week to do all that. But the first thing that we want to do is we want to get a block sander, and it's got to be a nice, good block sander because this is fiberglass, and if you don't block sand the vehicle properly, it's going to be wavy, it's going to be imperfected, and it's just going to look like crap. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our block sander, just like you see right here, and then we're going to take our roll of 80 grit. Did I just say that right? 80 grit? Yes, that's what we want to use. We don't want to use 320, we don't want to use 180, we want 80 grit, not 220. We got to block this surface because the primer that we're going to use on this car is very thick. We want everything to stick properly, and we want the job to be done right. We don't want paint peeling off later on. Now, the brown stuff that you're looking at is actually the factory primer. This is the factory primer on this car from the factory. It's a very high-grade lacquer primer. That means before we put our primer on top of this, we have to use an epoxy primer on it, which is a sealer. It has to be epoxy primed before we prime the car with the primer that we're going to use to prime this to level everything out, and we'll get to that when we get to it. We're also going to use a combination of these two blocks here. Now this is a block that I made many years ago. This is a block that I made out of some packing foam on some aftermarket parts that I received, and I've had this probably for 15, maybe 18 years. Very good for getting in tight places, and if you look right here, do you see this lip right here? We'll be able to take our block and get that. Another thing you want to be careful with is these ridges. Very important not to sand on top of those ridges. What happens? This is fiberglass. If you use a block like this and you hit that ridge the wrong way, did you see how I did that? It's going to make a groove in that. We don't want that. It's very important to use a flex blocks and a flexible hard block. So we're going to put these to the side right now because we're not sanding with those. We're going to get the big area, and I'm going to kind of show you on this deck lid what we're going to do. And we're just going to hand sand it. That's all we're doing. Do you see that? That's all we're doing. We're just hand sanding it with 80 grit and prepping it for our primer. Which this shouldn't take long, okay? This shouldn't take long at all. But it has to be done because we don't want it to be imperfected, wavy, ripply, or anything like that. As you're block sanding your fiberglass, you want to use your eyes as much as possible. Eye contact with the surface is very important. Another thing you want to do is make sure that your hands don't have any grease and grime or any type of oils or saturations on them, because it will soak into the fiberglass and ruin it. But it's very important to use good eye contact and hand, okay? Use your hand to feel it to make sure that there's no imperfections that you miss. So as I'm sanding this, I can actually smell the aroma of the stripper that I use to take the paint off. Very, very important to make sure that you remove, or at least try to remove, as much of the chemical stripper as you can. If some is left behind, it's not going to hurt nothing. The chemical is actually dead, and it won't react or re-react, and it'll still be fine. So if you look right in this area right in here, you can see this is a very sharp edge. We do not want to hit that with our sander. All right, what we want to do is we want to take our sander, and we're going to use two hands, and we're going to sand it so it doesn't roll over. Because if we use one hand, it's going to do this. Do you see that? So we're going to use two hands to keep it all uniform and proper. this surface right here, you can tell that this has been hand block sanded. Where this, you can actually still see the DA marks and the imperfections of where we didn't even block it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and get this block sanded out, and then we're going to start doing our body work on the back end and the doors of the vehicle and work our way to the front. I got a lot of block sanding to do. Stick with me on this. This is a 1961 Corvette. It is a collector car, you might say. It's a piece of American history, and when it leaves this shop, you will not believe your eyes what it's going to look like. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful car, and we're going to be proud of it when it leaves. Alright, we got it all block sanded except this area right here. I'll get that later. But what we need to do now, we need to go ahead and find our damage. Now, as I was sanding it down, remember I told you got to use your hands and you got to use the feel of the motion and see what's going on with your eyes. And on this side of the hood right here, it's really, what can I say, warped and wobbly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape and we are going to mark that where the damage is, because we're going to have to fill this in. There's no way about it. It's going to have to be filled in. Another situation I found is right here where they filled that in before. We're going to go ahead and take that. And then of course we already know about our body line. We're going to have to work on that. We got major body work right here. This is where something was going on, so we'll put this tape here, which is going to cover this area right here. And then down here on this area right here, I noticed that the fiberglass is like missing in this area. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you can see there's a big gouge right there. So we'll go ahead and put a piece of tape on that. And then as I run my hand down the quarter panel right here, there's a low spot here, so we're going to go ahead and mark this right there and right there. And I'm going to continue to run my hand. I can feel that on this body line right here. And I'm sure this all has to do with the body line that's going down this area where it's glued together. And then we're going to keep continually riding down, and this area right in here is low. There's a big dip right here. Now this is all factory stuff that I'm showing you, and needs to be considered as a repair because we're doing a semi-concourse restoration on this car. And that feels pretty good. We still got our body line here that we got to deal with. We already know that's there. Right in this area here seems a little low. We'll check that out. Seems a little wavy in this area as well. We'll go ahead and mark it with our tape. Right here. That's going to cover this area. Yeah, we got a low spot here, and I also see some Bondo right there. So yeah, there's some damage right there. And then of course there's our body line again where the panel is glued together, top and bottom. And as I was sanding this side down, I really didn't feel any damage or warpage in it. Nothing that our primer will be able to get. It is a little wavy right here in this area. I'm going to go ahead and mark that just to do a checkup on it right here. And you can kind of see where the low spots are. Let me go ahead and show you that. If you look right here, and right here, from hand sanding it, it's showing us that this is low. These are low spots. So when you rub your hand across it like this, you can literally feel that there is a low spot right here. So now that we've marked everywhere on the rear end of the car that we have found, we're going to go ahead and start doing our body work, and I'm going to start right there.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.